Michael, happy resurrection.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
By the grace of our God. Well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Yes.
Good.
Yes. It's been a trying week, but we're getting through it, and it's been interesting. It's been a good, reflective week. I think
Good. What about it was trying?
everything. Well, not just this week, but just since our last session, it's been an interesting couple weeks. Um, yeah, like we were talking about earlier. My mom lost her job, so that was a whole fiasco that was going on, and the financial repercussions of that on our family and all that kind of stuff has been a little bit stressful. But she's rebounding well, and she's pretty established in her industry, so it's not the end of the world, but it's just been a thing. And then, as I just mentioned before we turn on the cameras, yeah, my priest that we grew up with passed away on, what was it, Wednesday, I think?
Yeah.
Wednesday morning,
Right.
passed away. So that's been a thing that's been going on as well. And then back to my mother a little bit more. Her childhood best friend passed away as well this week. So yeah, it's just been a little bit of a heavy week.
Yeah, that is a lot. And
Yeah.
also, in reference to your mom, not like last month, did someone else she was close
No,
to?
so that was the same person. But
Okay.
she had just been not doing well previously, but then this week was when she finally crossed over.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. And how's she handling it?
Better than I expected. I think it's been easier, and this is something I've realized too. I kind of realized it on Thursday or Friday. Um, it's Easter today, and so I think that's helped her and me kind of with the process of how stressful this semester has been, and honestly the past 9 months with moving to Dallas and getting established here and all this stuff, and kind of Easter is like Christ is reborn. We're going into the new season. It's sunny outside. It kind of something is changing. I can. It sounds really weird, but I can kind of feel it, and
Amen.
a perspective is shifting.
Yeah.
So I think that's been helpful both for me and I think my mom too. It's been good for her.
So yeah, in light of everything that's gone on the last 9 months, you feel like this season, you feel like your spirit is being uplifted.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good way to put it. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's been weird. It's been a trying year so far living in Dallas.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it, I think it's stuff we've talked about the last couple sessions with the whole long distance stuff with Riley, and I mean just moving to a new state and adjusting, and then these random curveballs like I was saying earlier just get thrown in. It's been an interesting couple of months, several months.
Yeah.
But the last couple of days has kind of been, I don't know, different.
In a positive way.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, 100%.
Very
100%.
good. I'm glad to hear that, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a little bit before the session, you actually told me you've been praying a little bit more.
Yeah.
Can you
Yeah.
explain that to me a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, in what way? What do you want to know?
Is there something that's been motivating you to pray more in particular?
I think bad things happening.
Yeah.
That's the simple answer. But no, I mean, I think, um, yeah, I've had more to pray for. Um, there's been more of a environment that's promoting praying. I think being at DBU, and also again it being Easter time, and like I said, I'm Russian Orthodox, and so Easter's not only a weekend thing or a day thing; it's a 7 day thing. Pashka, it's a 7 day process. Um, and that's promoted it as well, and it's also the biggest holiday, I guess, if you will, or event in Orthodoxy. So I think Easter's been a huge kind of turnaround,
Yeah.
huge catalyst. Use a big word.
Yeah. So, in light of you praying more, have you sensed God telling you anything in particular?
No,
Okay.
but I think that's fine. Um, I think this is one of the conversations we've had outside of the sessions and whatnot, is that I've never really felt the kind of how do do I put it? I mean, so I think some Christians talk about praying and they can feel like a hand on their shoulder or something while they're praying. I've never had anything like that. Um, what I have, what I do feel more of when I pray is kind of just at ease, and it helps me think through things, and it helps me just slow down and reevaluate what's going on, and avoid the catastrophizing
Yeah.
that sometimes happens. Yeah.
So one of the effects of prayer for you is that you experience the peace of God.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah.
That is so good. I'm
Yes.
glad to hear it.
Yes.
Glad to hear it. And what a perfect time.
Yeah, with Easter going on, it's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is good.
Yeah.
That He offers us peace even in the midst of stress.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it's been helpful.
Yeah. I'm glad you're tapping into that. Good job on tapping into that,
Mm-hmm.
that power that's available to you.
Yeah.
So, can you tell me about how your friend is doing that was in the hospital 5-6 weeks ago?
Yeah. I'm not sure. I'm going to go see him tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll have more information tomorrow.
All right. Yeah. Looking forward to the report there because I'll see you the day after that actually in class. So, okay. So, yeah, we've got a lot of different stresses going on at the moment. So, before we jump into the new stressor of your mom losing her job and her friend, just to recap on our last session, you were analyzing or reevaluating the decision to move in with Riley not too far from now. How's that going?
Yeah. Did you say reevaluating?
Yeah, or like analyzing the decision.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't okay. To clarify, because I remember, I think the whole climate of that conversation could have come off as second guessing. I didn't want it to come off like that. She was actually in town this weekend, and I'm over the moon excited for it. I think it's something that I do sometimes where when I get really like looking forward to something, excited for something, I kind of try and push it down and kind of look for the flaws to not get my hopes up in case it doesn't go the way I want it to go. But no, I'm very excited for it, and it was awesome this weekend as well because she came to my Orthodox, or we went to the I wouldn't say my Orthodox church, but we went to Orthodox church last night, and then we went to her church this morning, and it was just it was a good weekend. And it's 2.5 weeks till I go back out there and I go visit her, and then 10 days after I leave, then we're back together. So I'm excited for it.
And have you ever lived with a young lady before?
No. No, so that will be interesting. But I think it'll be interesting. And I mean, I guess as far as some of the conversation we had last time about marriage and stuff like that, I think a lot of that's becoming more clear to me about what I want to happen. I still think that I'm still gonna have to wait, not because of anyone, but because I still think that's just how I view marriage and that kind of commitment is until I know if I'm going to be in a doctorate program or when I'm graduating college exactly and what careers look like. I think that I still need to have that. I don't want to say worth, but that thing to offer her is the future, you know?
Right.
Whereas right now I might have a year and a half left of school, but I don't know. It might be 4, it might be 5, who knows? So I think that needs to be figured out before anything further goes. But I am excited for it.
What about the element of like the anticipated living with someone and the curve that we talked about that you're anticipating, like moving in with another person? Like, is there anything in particular that you are concerned about?
No, I don't think so. I think at this point, I mean, yeah, I don't think so. I think at this point, I know what I'm getting myself into. Obviously, who knows? I might move in and then I'm getting yelled at to do dishes, and I'm like, this is awful. But I don't think that's gonna happen. Um, and I think if it does happen, I think I understand and I expect something like that could happen. You know what I mean? I think I know what I'm getting myself into. I think is what I'm trying to articulate.
Right now, is there a certain way that you have an idea of how she would like the house to be run in reference to cleaning?
No, I mean I think it's just gonna be a take care of your stuff and I'll take care of my stuff kind of thing. I mean, this is a thing I was telling. I was talking to Riley's parents about the last time she was here, which was just last month. On her, I think it was the 27th, something or somewhere around there. But I was talking to them, and we were talking about me and Riley doing long distance, and how her parents are like proud of us for making it work and all this stuff. And I said, well, there's not a lot of girls who I would do long distance with. I think that me and her kind of both have very similar expectations, not for each other, but of ourselves. Meaning that, like with cleaning, for example, I'm not a dirty person. She's not a dirty person. I don't think there's going to be an issue with cleaning or with doing laundry or grocery shopping or whatever. I think we're both very focused people, and if something needs to get done, we get it done. So I think that maybe maybe there'll be something where it's like, those are your dishes, go do them. But I don't think it'd be a conflict or anything where there would be like a defensiveness to it. It would just be like, oh, those are my dishes, I'll do those now. I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to work out well.
How did her cheerleading edition go?
She has those May 2nd.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she was in town this week because there was a class on Thursday that she wanted to attend, and then there was a class on Friday, and then Saturday there was like a whole like seminar kind of thing that was hosted by DCC.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. All right, and she's at the airport right now, about to leave in like an hour or so? Or
She should be on her flight.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So hopefully the flight's safe.
Yeah.
It's blessed and it's protected, and
In Jesus'
she gets
name.
home safe.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Certainly. So, your mom. How's your mom handling the job loss?
Yeah. We'll be here for 3 hours talking about that. There's a ton of backstory with what she does and her position at that company, but I think initially she was obviously panicked, as you would be if your job was taken away from you without warning. But the more I've talked to her, the more relieved she's felt.
Good.
I think that I'm not going to disclose why. And this is something that I've done, and then when people ask me questions like this, it's not necessarily my story to tell, but
Yeah.
she did feel, to an extent, trapped in that company. And I don't think she really realized it until she was free. And so I remember talking to her on the phone the other day, and she started crying, and she's like, Mike, I'm free. Like I don't have people who in this company who have control over me. They had it for so long. I didn't realize, but I'm free, and now I can do whatever I want to do for the rest of my career. So, and I've seen the perspective change in her too, which has been fascinating to watch. But I think she's handling it better than anyone else would handle losing their job. So I think she's in a good place, or at least as good of a place as you could be given the circumstances.
Sounds resilient.
Yes, a good way to put it. Yeah.
And how do you feel about it?
Well, I'm happy for her, I guess. I think that at first I panicked, and then I felt guilty, I think. In the sense of, I'm 23 years old, and I think very highly of myself, and I'm dependent on someone else and someone else's income, and I think that, I mean, I'm working right now, but obviously that's not enough to pay for rent and food and school. School's very expensive,
Yeah.
as you know. So it just kind of shocked me, and I'm trying to use it as motivation because I don't like the feeling of being dependent on people, and that's kind of what it felt like to me. But I know it's going to work out and it's going to be fine, and my parents are very supportive, and they're going to do their thing, and I'm going to try and figure out a way to help more and kind of move away from that dependency. I think that's my goal.
And what's that gonna look like, moving away from the dependency?
That's a good question. Working more hours, getting a second job, doing the best of my ability in school, so that when I'm done, I'm able to get a good job and actually know what I'm doing. And I think that part of the reason is so that, I mean, they've been extremely generous in how they've helped us with our school and stuff like that, but they view it as an investment, one that they don't expect to get a return on personally, but just my mom and my dad both grew up very poor,
Mhm.
and they understand the importance of education, especially in a higher education when it directly impacts your field, like a master's in psychology compared to a bachelor's in psychology. The level of things that you can do and the money you make is oceans apart. But I think for me, I want to be able to pay them back. I don't know how yet. Maybe it's buying my dad a Porsche or something like that. But that's something that's a goal that I have, and I think that by doing better in school and looking to a doctorate program and building a brand for myself and a career for myself that I can take pride in, money's going to be the byproduct of that, and it'll allow me to reverse the script, make them dependent on me. Not really.
Honorable goal.
Yeah. I don't want to make them dependent, but I would like to one day repay them. So I think, yeah, I'm trying to use it as motivation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're turning the guilt, shock, and panic
Mm-hmm.
into motivation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have to. Yeah, I mean, I think I kind of try and think about things in somewhat of a primal view, which I think people have lost because of how cushy life is nowadays. But I mean, a modern equivalent or an ancient equivalent to what's happening to me would be like a lion jumping out of a bush, and are you gonna have I can't, you can't have a panic attack and just do nothing in that scenario. There has to be fight, flight, or flee. Well, that's, I guess, flight and flee are the same thing, but you know what I'm trying to say. I can't let myself just feel sorry for myself and not do anything about it, because that doesn't help anything. That doesn't increase my odds of survival and reproduction and all that stuff.
And how does prayer factor into like the fight, flight mode and survival primitive primal mode?
I think, kind of like I said earlier, it slows things down. I think that I think, I don't think that I think, I know that I think very fast. It can sometimes lead to me, I don't want to say feeling overwhelmed, but feeling like I have 4 plates in front of me instead of 1. And how do I tackle all of this at once? So I think slowing it down just helps me with the process. It helps me just get through it.
Do you feel like it helps you to like break it down into smaller parts so it could be?
I wouldn't say that. No,
Okay.
I think it just slows it down. Maybe I would say that. Maybe I would agree with you. Maybe I'll backtrack. I think I do agree with you. Yes, but not in the way where it's like these are now 4 separate tasks.
Right.
It's just like we're gonna go through this one step at a time instead of all at once.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good with self-awareness and reflection and analysis. So good job. So, is there anything in particular you would like to talk about in reference to your mom losing her job and how that affects you, like currently financially?
Um, not really. I mean, I'm taking steps right now to kind of remedy my own situation. Looking at grants, scholarships, all that kind of fun stuff. Um, but I think I understand the process, and I'm actually kind of okay taking loans, at least as long as they're not like a ton. But
Yeah.
I think a little bit is manageable. Well, I know a little bit is manageable because over half the country has student loans, and we have like $12 trillion of student loan debt or something astronomical like that. So, yeah, I think I don't know, trying to be okay with all the outcomes. But I mean, I wouldn't say there's anything specifically that's causing me panic or we kind of talked about earlier. I think I've taken the steps and I'm trying to wait for the fruition of my efforts to come until I make my next step. And there's no point worrying until that happens because nothing's going to change in the next 24 hours. Something's going to change when I get a letter back saying, you now have this. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Or if you don't have this, I'm like, oh, okay, what do I do now? There's no point worrying about that until it happens.
In reference to that, are you talking about loans? Or
I mean, loans, grants, scholarships, anything.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like I said, I mean, I've filled all the forms and I've been reaching around trying to figure out what can go what can go where. And until things kind of fall into place, there's no point worrying because I've already made the steps. And is there more I could be doing? Sure, but I don't know. I haven't really been thinking about it as much.
Got it.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you would like to talk about on your mind?
I don't know. See, we chose an interesting day to do this session because I feel like the last 24 hours I've been in church for I don't know how many hours, and there's been lots of reflection and prayer and that. So that's been a lot of what I would have, I guess, talked about in this. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, that's good. It sounds like the last, like you said, 24 hours or even longer than that, like you've been in prayer and reflective, and it sounds like the Holy Spirit has been your counselor, even giving you peace and a sound mind to see things clearly.
Yeah, no, it's been good. Yeah, I mean, like I was saying earlier, I had never felt like that hand on the shoulder or the whisper in the ear or anything like that, but it is bizarre to feel like a profound shift in perspective and how you view life. It's very interesting.
Amen. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Holy Spirit could really shift our perspective, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you might have a even more close relationship with Him than you realize.
I hope so. I mean, like we've gone over. I don't know if we've talked about it in session, but we've talked about it a lot. I mean, I think it's always been kind of, I wouldn't say difficult, but what's it different? I can't think of a vocab word. I would say difficult, but I mean, like growing up in a Russian Orthodox church, I don't speak Russian, so there's always been boundaries and not boundaries, barriers between I think me and my understanding of my faith. But I think I've always understood that there is something, you know. I think in the last couple of years I've kind of started to understand Christianity makes the most sense to me historically and spiritually, and the culture and the norms and the things people practice. It makes the most sense to me, and I think that's kind of where I've aligned myself with that. But I think the actual kind of spiritual enlightenment, I guess you could say, has been very recent, where it's kind of being fully bought into it.
Right.
Yeah.
Got it. So, do you ever when you get into this reflective mode,
Mm-hmm.
do you ever journal?
No, I
Okay.
can't journal. It drives me crazy to journal.
How does it drive you crazy to
I
journal?
forget about everything I journal about.
Okay, you forget about everything you journal about.
Yeah.
Can you walk me through that?
Yeah. I don't know. How do I explain? I don't know. For me personally, I feel like my brain is very efficient at filtering out unneeded or information that's not directly present to me.
Okay.
Um, like an example I'll give you, like if you asked me who my fourth grade teacher was, couldn't tell you. And most people probably might not be able to tell you. But I probably couldn't tell you my fourth grade teacher, my third grade teacher, second grade teacher, first grade teacher, fifth grade teacher, everywhere through high school. It's just not to say that I didn't build relationship with those people, but it's just not someone that is in my life right now, and it's not something that I think about often. And my brain just flips a switch, and it's just not there. So with journaling, which I've tried it before, to me, journaling feels like I'm putting my thoughts into a safety deposit box and I'm locking the key and throwing it away. And so when I journal, I forget what I journaled about. So there's not actually necessarily a progress or a solution, because that's how I would view journaling is, what is a problem, write it down, now how do I solve it?
Right.
But for me, it's hard to write something down and then revisit in a week and then say, oh, well, how did I work on this? If I do journal at all, it's just writing down an issue. Kind of like we were talking about in our session, where it's like writing down a number and then like, okay, how do we do this? Like working through a math problem. Doing journaling like that works for me. Doing long form journaling like over months, it doesn't work. Because I look back on it and I'm like, who wrote this? This was not me. And it doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't register for some reason.
Okay. What do you think about if you do that and then you come back to it and that thought comes, okay, who wrote this?
Yeah.
What do you think about like taking it one step further? It's like, okay, like consciously try to remember what it was. Like, first of all, recognize that you did actually write it. One.
Of course. Well, yeah, I recognize that, but it just, I think the way I think, I could be completely wrong. I'm psychoanalyzing myself now, but I think I'm a very fluid thinker, and I shift a lot in my perspectives and my beliefs. What I think is right and wrong, which is interesting because the whole exploring my faith thing has kind of started to build foundations under that. But I think maybe it's a product of not necessarily having that system for most of my life. But I think, just the way I think and the way I feel day to day and who I feel that I am feels very fluid. So like exactly what you were saying, if I go back to something and I like recognize that I wrote it, most of the time it's not an issue that I care about anymore, or it's something I solved, or it's something that I overthought and wrote it down because I was overthinking in the moment, and then now I realize it's not a big deal. So a lot of the time, it's, if anything, I look back on it and I'm like, well, that was silly.
Okay.
But there's not. I don't know. This is the issue with journaling with me, is that it's such a long form practice, and I'm a very short term solution focused person.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. You don't see the value of it because of how you're wired.
Yeah, well, I understand the value in it. I don't think it would necessarily be a bad practice to start doing, but it's like if I wrote something down on Monday, I told myself I'm going to come back to this on Friday. The odds are by Tuesday, halfway through Tuesday, either I solved the problem, it's not bothering me anymore, I've forgotten about it, or I don't care anymore. I don't know why that is. That's just the way that my brain works, and it's, if I go back to it on Friday, I'm going to be like, this was a waste of my time. I do recognize the benefits of the process, and I think for a lot of people it is very, very, very helpful and beneficial to think back about how you think and to reflect on your problems. Just for me personally, when I have done it, it just hasn't had as great of an effect as I've seen it in other people.
what do you think for you personally would have that same sort of effect that you see that it has on other people?
I think the praying. The last few days, I mean, I think that's what people want with journaling.
Yeah.
Is to slow down and to process through a problem and to focus on one thing and work through it. And I mean, there's different types of journaling where you're journaling on like how you feel day to day and monitoring your mood. I don't know. I mean, praying, it's been helpful this week, yeah, but I mean, outside of this week, that's not true. It hasn't helped me slow things down. But besides that, I don't know. I tend to either try and solve a problem as soon as it comes up, or distract myself until later with I don't know, video games or golfing or TV or something like that.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, it sounds like the last couple of days you've really, leaned into the power of prayer in a way that perhaps you haven't before, and you've hinted at the reasons why, one, season, two, environment.
Yeah.
So how can we stack on this and continue this this momentum of prayer, because that's huge. That's a good thing.
No, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. I mean, I don't know. I think it's just. I'm not sure when I said this to you, but I think for me, it's very easy to pray when things are going bad, and I think it's a practice that I want to start doing is praying when things are good. I think that. I think that's a true Christian. I think it's very easy for someone to ask for help when they're beaten down. Well, sometimes, but for me, it's like if I'm struggling, I'm gonna ask for help. I don't have an issue with that. But it's when I'm in a good place, I have a hard time talking about it or asking for guidance or faith because things are good.
Yeah.
What do I need to ask for? Or what do I need to pray for? Things are good. Things are good. And it's just how things are. But that's a practice that I would like to implement a little bit more into my life.
What steps can you make to help that come into fruition?
Journaling. No, I'm just kidding. I think just being cognizant.
Yeah.
Making a routine of going to church more. I don't know, just being grateful. I think I am a grateful person. But I think that it's kind of what you were saying earlier, where it's like you have good manners, but it's hard to sometimes feel the manners that you're expressing. Maybe pausing to reflect upon that could be helpful and kind of remind me to be gratitude and express that either to the person or to God or just to myself or stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think could be good.
Sounds good, Mike. Well, clearly, Mike, in these 4 sessions that I've been privileged to sit with you in, you've showed extreme reflective power and self-awareness, and I want to encourage you in that.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about what your future holds as a
Me too, man.
clinical psychologist.
Me too, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate the sessions. They've been good. Yeah.
God bless you, brother.
You as well, man. Thank you.
Thank you.